You are Locked On Wolverines, your daily podcast on the Michigan Wolverines, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Happy Tuesday. We are back doing it. Locked On Wolverines podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day. I am your man on the ground, Isaiah Hole, publisher of Wolverines Wire through USA Today Sports Media Group. And we are but days away. We are less than a week away before Michigan arrives in Fort Lauderdale. Actually, we're very much under. It's 5 days away before they arrive, 4 days away before they get down there in preparation for the Capital One Orange Bowl college football playoff appearance. They arrive on Christmas Day, so a day earlier than initially announced. But we've got just a bunch of little things to talk about. No big overarching themes today, just because there's a bunch of little news type things. I guess we could go over my 10 bold predictions. We'll save that probably for Friday. For the Georgia game, I think that's a good way to get into it. You can read about them on Wolverines Wire, but nonetheless, we've got a bunch of little things that we're going to touch on. So this will be a little bit more of a shorter show as a result. But the first thing that I want to get to, by the way, I said my name. It's that kind of day. It's just don't know what's up, what's down. We did talk to some players today. We talked to four of them, Andrew Stueber and Cornelius Johnson, Mozzie Smith, and Ryan Hayes. So the first thing, obviously, we talked to two offensive linemen. They won the Joe Moore Award. That's huge for them. Which is given to the nation's best offensive line as a unit. That is gigantic news. I mean, it goes to show exactly what Michigan has been this year. It's excellent to see that they are that they won the award. Now they've really got the opportunity to show it with Georgia coming up. Obviously, Georgia's defensive front in particular. I mean, really the whole defense. We've heard them talked about as being this monolith, unbeatable, the best defense ever in college football. Then they go and give up 41 points to Alabama, and maybe not so much. But, I mean, they've given up 9.5 points a game. Obviously, that number rose pretty significantly. It was about a touchdown a game before that. But nonetheless, 24/7 Sports team talent composite as Georgia is the second most talented team in the country. They've got 19 5-stars. That leads the country. 47 4-stars, 19 3-stars. Average rating is 93.52, which is insane, right? That is just insane. When you look at Michigan, number 15 with 3 5-stars, 41 4-stars, 36 3-stars. But sometimes you can get to a situation where it's development, right? Because we've seen a lot of 3-stars come through Ann Arbor. Seems like the Michigan team under Jim Harbaugh has gotten a lot of production from a lot of 3-stars who have gone on to the NFL, whereas the high 4-star and the 5-stars haven't necessarily shown out. We are seeing some of those 5-stars show out so far, right? Like we've seen really good things from Christopher Hinton. We've seen really good things from Daxton Hill. We're starting to see really good things from J.J. McCarthy. I guess you can include Donovan Edwards in that group because from 24/7 Sports proprietary rankings, he was a 5-star. So they've certainly gotten some decent production from those guys so far. But, I mean, Georgia obviously is stacked. But I think the thing that I really liked coming out, my big number one takeaway coming from today's press conference is Andrew Stueber somewhat echoing Aiden Hutchinson. Aiden Hutchinson had said before the Ohio State game, listen, a lot of teams go out there and play them scared. We're not going to do that. Andrew Stueber said, I asked him about Georgia's defensive front. Hey, they've got 40 of the 41 sacks, 16 different guys on the defensive front, talking the front 7 have gotten sacks. I mean, they're 6th in the country as far as getting that type of pressure. Obviously, there's also a daunting situation as being one of the best rush defenses. And Andrew Stueber says, hey, you know what? It's not, we're going to play Michigan football. That's what we're going to do. We're not going to change things up wildly, and we are not scared. We're not going to go into this game scared. But if we go in there and we play Michigan football, we'll have the result we want. And I think that's good. Now, the other thing is, the corollary to that, he was asked about how much he's watched Alabama and how much the offense is maybe thinking about doing some cut and paste, so to speak, of what they saw from Alabama. I know, wildly different offense. Alabama didn't run the ball a ton. They got, I think, 113 yards or something like that. I think that's Michigan at Wisconsin, but they got like 100 yards on the ground, but a lot of their production came through the air. Obviously, that's not necessarily what Michigan wants to do. Michigan wants to be balanced. They're averaging only 2 yards more in the pass game than the rush game. Stueber did say, hey, it was an interesting game to watch. We're looking at a lot of stuff. A lot of that stuff doesn't translate to our offense, but we're taking what we can from not just Alabama, but any other team that's had any type of success at any point against Georgia, and we're seeing how that can work within the confines of what we do. But ultimately, and this was kind of the grand scheme of what we've talked about with some of these guys is over the course of the last few weeks, is they're not looking to change things up dramatically or anything, right? Like they say, what we've done has worked so far, and that's where we're at. And they're not wrong, right? Like, Georgia just had a blowout lost 41-27 or whatever that score was, or I don't remember it exactly, but they lost by a good 14 points to Alabama. Michigan's sole loss thus far is by 4 points to Michigan State in a game that Michigan was controlling, and then just kind of things fell off the rails. So I think that when you look at that type of disparity, it doesn't always tell the whole story. Certainly, Alabama might just be that good. The lights might just turn on for the Crimson Tide, and that just might be what it is. But let's not forget, and I didn't mention this yesterday. I mean, I've said this a million times over. Georgia's thing, right, is to lose the big game, right? Now, yeah, they won their first college football playoff semifinal. They won an SEC championship that year, 2017. But then they get up against Florida. Not Florida. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Alabama. And then they lose, right? Like, Georgia hasn't won a college football national championship in my lifetime. And I'm 40. I'm a man. I'm 40. So Michigan's at least won one in that time frame. It seems like, and I talk about this with my best friend all the time, and we talked about this well before this game got announced, because I love to brag on Georgia fans who act like they're doing something sometimes. I'm not saying that they're not good, they're not elite, certainly they are, but that doesn't mean that they come away with the big win. Think back to I think it was like 2011 or something like that. They were hosting Alabama, and I remember College Game Day was in town. It was a big game. Everyone was saying, this is Georgia's moment. They're finally going to do it. They had only lost the last two to Alabama, but I think everyone knew that was the hump they had to get over. It's like, oh, they're finally going to do it. They're going to be able to take down the Crimson Tide at home. This is going to be a celebration. And they got run out of their own stadium. How it tends to go. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what Michigan's able to implement. And I think that it will go, it'll go pretty good overall, but we'll see. They play games for a reason. I like the team's moxie, the team's confidence that it hasn't changed. Georgia got punched in the mouth all at once this year, and it didn't go well for them. If Michigan, one of my bold predictions, Michigan's going to do everything it can to get out to a super early start, and then go from there, right? Like, it's if they can punch Georgia in the mouth straight away, then that doesn't bode well for the Bulldogs. All right, this is it. This the putt to win the tournament. If you sink it, the championship is yours, but on your backswing, your hat falls over your eyes. Is this how you're running your business? Poor visibility because you're still relying on spreadsheets and outdated finance software? To see the full picture, you need to upgrade to NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite is the #1 cloud financial system to power your growth. With visibility and control of your financials, inventory, HR, planning, budgeting, and more, NetSuite is everything you need to grow all in one place. With NetSuite, you can automate your processes and close your books in no time while staying well ahead of your competition. 93% of surveyed businesses increase their visibility and control after upgrading to NetSuite. So over 28,000 businesses already use NetSuite for the new year. NetSuite has a new financing program for those ready to upgrade at netsuite.com/locked. That's different than what I was saying before, so pay attention. Head over to netsuite.com/locked for this special one-of-a-kind financing offer on the #1 financial system for growing businesses. That's netsuite.com/locked. All right, let's continue this touch 'em all that we're doing. I got to look up one of the things here because I'm really good at forgetting things and names and whatever. So Aiden Hutchinson won yet another award. He won the Mayo Clinic Comeback Player of the Year. So that's huge. Adding to all of his other accolades. He got the Joe Moore Award. Not everything is necessarily sunshine and rainbows for things in Michigan athletics. Before we get to a basketball happenstance, because right now I'm supposed to be at a basketball game. I am not, because that game was canceled due to COVID, thanks to some protocols on the Purdue-Fort Wayne end of things. I love their name, by the way. They're the Mastodons. That is the coolest nickname I have ever heard. Like, sports-wise, I love it. The Mastodons. Like, if I were the Boilermakers in West Lafayette, I'd be like, you know what? No, that's better. I like that better. I mean, Boilermakers is pretty cool because it's obviously it's a train. It can be a drink, whatever you want. But nonetheless. So one thing that I do need to point out is Kyle DeVan. He was a Michigan offensive analyst working with the offensive line this year. All around good guy. He was announced this evening by Colorado as their new offensive line coach. So huge congrats to him. He previously was an offensive line coach at places like Ball State and Arizona. So it's not his first rodeo, and Michigan got him for a rental. But that's he adds with Ryan Osborne, who's out the door after the Michigan's playoff run, whatever that might be, 1-2 games. He'll be out the door. So huge congrats to him. That's kind of the type of thing that happens with analysts. He got broomed by virtue of Arizona having the coaching change and bringing in Jed Fish, and he's a longtime NFL player, played with the Colts and the Jets and a bunch of other teams, and he ended up being in Ann Arbor for a year, and obviously that paid off with another Power 5 on-field coaching situation. So the good news is, though, like for Michigan, if Michigan makes a run, I mean, even if it doesn't, they're a college football playoff team. As long as they don't embarrass themselves, as say like Michigan State did in 2015 or Ohio State did in 2016. If Michigan goes and holds up its own, right? Because not every team is going to win it straight away. I mean, yeah, Ohio State did in 2014, but obviously Alabama didn't that year, the first year of the college football playoff, and then Clemson won it in 2015, I believe, and then Alabama the year after. I might have those two mixed, but nonetheless, it's one of those things where you can continue to attract top talent, and that's not just on the field. You can attract more top talent behind the scenes, right? Look at Alabama. Look at what Nick Saban tends to do. There's a joke that was going around, and I don't think it's necessarily untrue, where it said, it was from Reddit, CFB on Twitter. They said, we need to start getting used to the idea of new Alabama offensive coordinator Urban Meyer, because that's kind of what Alabama does. I don't know that Urban would do that to rehabilitate his image. But, I mean, Steve Sarkisian obviously just did it. Bill O'Brien is doing it literally right now. Lane Kiffin did it. They always got these guys that seemingly are out of nowhere, right? They're done. Everyone that says, like, all right, these guys are done. And they come back, and they get really good analysts. Is that right? Butch Jones, the former Central Michigan, Tennessee coach. They go and get guys like that, right? So if Michigan can win it all, particularly, or get close to it, that's going to be so big for the idea of being able to attract not just talent on the field, but more analyst types. And you're going to lose coaches, but, I don't think Alabama worries when it loses a coach, right? Because they just plug in someone else. So, sorry. Still got the cough. Managed to make it a couple shows without doing it, but fighting it off right now. Anyway, so that is one piece of news. So let's talk about, just because I'm on the verge of losing it here due to cough, let's talk about the the COVID stuff. I'm leaving this in so you can see how ridiculous this is. Let's talk about the COVID stuff, because obviously there's some consternation for about the football of it all, and whether or not, something happens before the Orange Bowl. And we already kind of mentioned the basketball thing, but we'll talk about that here in just a moment. If I can keep my wits about me here. Listen, I've been telling you about Prize Picks, and if you still haven't signed up, what are you waiting for? In addition to college football action, Prize Picks makes college basketball more exciting. Prize Picks is a leader in college sports daily fantasy. Prize Picks offers more college football and basketball props than anyone in the world, and offers all the star players of the Power 5 as well as the mid-major players you might not have ever even heard of. Prize Picks offers any prop that you can think of. In basketball, you can play points, rebounds, assists, threes made, and more. Make your deposit using the promo code LOCKEDON. Get an instant deposit match up to $100. That's a 100% instant deposit match. You pick 2 to 5 players and over-under on the projections, and you can win up to 10 times on any entry, and it's just you versus the projected numbers. Prize Picks allows mixed sport entries. That means you can take the over on Joel Embiid and the under on Aaron Rodgers in the same entry. Use the award-winning app on both the Apple App Store and Google Play. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It is that easy. Prize Picks is safe and offers fast withdrawals. Don't hesitate. Check out prizepicks.com. Use the promo code LOCKEDON, or go to the App Store and download it today. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. Also, and this is like the first time in all week that I haven't been wearing something from Home Field Apparel. And that's pretty much just because I got to do laundry. But I wore some to the gym earlier today. But here's the thing. If you don't know what homefieldapparel.com is, Homefield is a company that they make these incredible, they make more than just tops now, because they've got the shirts, they got the hoodies, they have a couple joggers out there, they've got some stickers they're making. But I've got the Michigan joggers, I've got the Tulane, which you saw maybe on Monday's show, the Tulane hoodie. The most comfortable hoodies I've ever worn. Like I said yesterday, it's like wearing a hug. Absolutely incredible. It's wonderful to wear. I've got all kinds of shirts. You've seen them here on the show, whether it's I don't know that I've worn many of my Michigan shirts. I do have 2 of them. I have a basketball one. I have just a general one with the Sailor Wolverine on it. It's a maize shirt. It's wonderful. I have a Michigan hoodie. But I've got all kinds, because I love their designs. Their designs are incredible. Like I've got a Texas shirt. I've got a Georgia one that's not being worn right now, of course. I've got a Florida one, which maybe I'll wear that down to Florida. Really look like a local that hates Georgia. Y'all know how much I hate Georgia, and I got a Georgia shirt. That just tells you about how cool their designs are, because they go back and they curate. They go back and look at all these different designs that they throughout a school's history, and they find these incredible gems. So I'm telling you, it is awesome. So go to homefield.com. Oh, sorry, homefieldapparel.com. They've got over 19 Michigan items available to you, and plenty of other schools. No Ohio State. So that tells you all about home field magic, as they call it. Put in the promo code LOCKEDONWolverines, and you can get 15% off of your first order. Anyone that I know that wears Home Field or has ever bought from Home Field loves it. And it's a company that I personally sought out. Because I had already followed them before they had their Michigan release. I reached out to Home Field. They came on the podcast. Connor Hitchcock did, the founder. And I kept on being like, dude, when are you going to advertise? Because I believe in your product. This wasn't them coming to me. This was me going to them. Because it's something that I love. I know you will too. So go to homefieldapparel.com, put in promo code LOCKEDONWolverines for 15% off of your first order. All right, coughing fits, I think, are hopefully behind us. I don't know if they are or not. Doesn't necessarily feel like it, but we're going to try to power through. This is another reason why we're doing it short. Just to kind of get some things out of the way here. Yeah, so COVID situation, obviously basketball game was canceled. I don't think anyone's shedding many tears for losing a non-conference game in December. That's not in, one of the big, tip-off games or, cross-conference games, types of things. But still, I mean, there would have been a game that Michigan could have continued some momentum after winning the other day. But now they're off until December 30th, is what it is. But nonetheless, disappointing, but not surprised. However, corollary here is football. People are certainly a little bit anxious with Omicron spreading and just the general uptick of things. I'm not going to be political about it. It just is what it is. But you have your beliefs on what is, what should be. That's all up to you. But nonetheless, it sounds, after talking to Andrew Stueber, like Michigan is taking things very seriously. At least now they are. I mean, Jim Harbaugh was at a boxing match to support Frank Gore, and he was shown on video without a mask. Again, I'm not personally, you're not going to find me talking on either side of the coin here. But I know that certainly rubbed some people the wrong way. But the reason why I bring that up is because Andrew Stueber said that things are seemingly back to kind of the 2020 protocols in a lot of ways. Masks around the building. I mean, they're not testing every day, but saying, some of these guys were saying, I don't think it was just him, that, hey, we want it all, right? Like, we're not going to do something to jeopardize the fact that we want to go and play in the college football playoff and go and play in the national championship game. So they're taking it very seriously. Players are, for sure. They're getting the team-wide boosting situation, immunization happening on Wednesday. So they're taking it very seriously. And regardless of anything, your views on either way, that it's good that they're taking it that seriously, because they just are like, we do not want to find ourselves in a situation where we can't play that game. And they want to be full team strength. Things are going around. I want to reiterate with my coughing, I do not have the COVID. I'm pretty sure I just have sinusitis, or had it, or whatever. Knocked me on my behind for 2 weeks and still have a cough. That's where we're at. I'm going to leave you with that, my own personal health situation. So, because I'm going to start coughing again any second. So anyway, that'll do it for us today. We'll be back on Wednesday with the DraftKings head of all of the stuff, the gambling stuff. We're going to take our foray into that whole situation. So I will be very much a noob, because I'm not much of a sports bettor type person. But we're going to find out. We're going to find out all about it on Wednesday. So look forward to that. That'll be probably an earlier release, because we're talking to him around noon. So anyway, that'll do it. Thank you for watching and or listening. We will talk to you Wednesday. Peace.